coming out, because at some point you said, I want to spend my Saturday night going to a panel about a retro RPG based on a webcomic, and I appreciate that. Introduction, and we'll address some FAQs, but then we're going to open it up to questions really early because we figure you're here to find out, the information that's important to you and give you the opportunity to ask all those fun things that you want to do. So, let's start over here because Jerry looks lost. Give us your name and your role and all that stuff, even though everyone probably knows this one. Go ahead.
Hello everyone, I am Robert Boyd from Z-Boyd Games. I do the design and programming for our games. Hey everyone, I'm Bill Sternberg. I do the graphics, animation, and maps for our games.
My name is Jeff Callis, and I'm the producer on this particular game, and work for this guy.
Opens, and I do my best to write on the Wraiths like Precipice of Darkness series of games.
So, just by a show of hands, how many people have finished episode 3? Okay, pretty good. Out of people, hold your hands up. How many have finished Lair of the Seamstress? Oh, see, guys. How many finished Beginning of the End? Okay, those of you guys that are the DLC is free, people.
You don't have to pay. It's just more video games.
I'm just curious because a little bit of 4 is going to lend itself. Beginning of the End answers some hints at some answers that are going to be a little more transparent.
It's separate. Like it's a separate menu.
Yeah, it's a separate menu item. It's not. You don't have to have even finished 3. Actually, you can just jump in and shoot.
It's like a one-shot, like a mini adventure, basically in D&D or something like that. It's pretty cool.
So yeah, that's us pimping at this point. Pimping our free DLC, which you don't have to pay for. So, just out of curiosity, from the Z-Boyd point of view, what for you has been the biggest difference between making 3 and now making 4?
Well, for me at least, it feels like we know what we're doing now. This is the first game that I can honestly say, oh yeah, we're not completely messed up and confused about it. But no, it was really fun because we already had the basic engine for Rainslick 3 going into number 4, so we could focus more on polishing it up, making the levels more open and more interesting with variety and such. Yeah, and actually with Rainslick 4, one of the things we did that we didn't do with Rainslick 3 is we all flew to Seattle for a day and just hammered out kind of the story and structure of the game all at once. And I think that really helps us not only get on the same page as far as the game, but it felt like it was more collaborative as a whole. And I don't know, I got a lot out of that too. Mostly we just watched Buffy episodes and figured out where we could steal from them.
You're not supposed to tell your producer these things. So let me get kind of the elephant out of the room. And I can even answer this question. How come 4 is not on Android and iOS like 3 was? And the reason is all of you, because you guys are at this panel, which means you must be fans and you might have bought it and we appreciate it. But you are the only ones who don't. And unfortunately, the amount of work and effort it takes to put to all those platforms, I'd love to see it on every platform. PSN. I wish we could make it happen. We still are talking to developers off and on to try and find a way to make the money versus to the reward versus the risk. And hopefully down the road we can.
Yeah, we're just as surprised as you.
We really thought like the iOS and Android would really take off, and they, I don't know what to tell you. I tell all your friends to buy 10 copies. I mean, it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't worth what had to go into making it happen. So we had to stick to what we know people will play on. So maybe down the road, an engine will make things easier. A new engine, right, Robert?
community. I mean, we've been talking to lots of platform holders for our next game, and Sony, Nintendo, Atari, you know, all the major players in the industry right now. And, yeah, we're really going to try to get it out on as many platforms, but for this game, since it's the last one and the number 3 didn't do so hot, we're just going to do PC, Xbox for now.
All right, so I'm curious, has the indie community treated you any differently since you signed this mega license? It's me tongue-in-cheek.
I don't know. I would say generally, you know, haven't treated us differently. Actually, if anything, being able to come to PAX and have a booth that we're very grateful for has actually given us more opportunities to meet a lot of other indie developers and, you know, mid-sized developers than we would otherwise. So we know a lot of them on Twitter, and that's great. Just tweeting back and forth and seeing their like crazy cartoon avatar. But meeting in person is a much better opportunity.
Right now, Jonathan Blow no longer returns my calls, but I mean, other than that, it's been great. He didn't talk to me before either. So.
Our announced release date is spring. So I guess that means it better be out by June 20th or we're left. It's not because I have kids in the audience, I'm controlling my language. So, Jerry, how is your process? Has your process changed at all? Because 3 you had already pre-written, and it existed already in a short story form, in a novella form on the site. How is that different now with going into 4?
Yeah, I mean, so you're writing to, it was almost like an adaptation. So it wasn't like a traditional writing process. But even aside from that, like we added a new character that I thought was really important to have another perspective in there. So there was things that I had to add, but as a generality, I was really sort of just translating it to the game zone, if you will. But so with 4, like I said, we all got together, and I told them, you know, how I had fantasized about it coming to a conclusion, and it was truly insane. But they were game. Like they wanted to go to those realms.
There were times when Jerry would be explaining some plot point and he would say something and all 3 of us would just, whoa. He's like, you didn't know that already? And Jerry hadn't realized he'd never actually taken the idea out of his head and explained it to you.
Yeah, I mean things that just seem so completely straightforward to me are just not.
Can you explain the ending to 3, Jerry?
Yeah, I mean, I have this problem with my son, where you know he has the same problem I do, which is that I think about things so hard, like it's like at the gym, like lifting something. I think about things as hard as it takes to lift that, and I'll just be like, I'm thinking about it so hard it seems like other people could hear it. Or that they would like know somehow, and that is not true. That's not how hearing works. You know.
So, Robert, for those who haven't had a chance to get down on the demo, one of the big differences between 3 and 4 is 4 has this element of character collection. You're not necessarily using the party members, you're using these creatures that you've captured in spiritual things called monstorms. And you're training them.
That was me. I call them monsters.
Actually, Monstorp was the placeholder name. So let this be a lesson to you to never use a placeholder name. Because eventually you just say it so often that it feels like that's the actual name, and it doesn't feel stupid, even though it might be.
It's an orbit. There's monsters in it, man. Like, done.
So what was the catalyst for changing the battle system, and where's the inspiration for this sort of mechanic?
Are there any other games where you capture monsters and do battle with them?
I think Digimon was the main. No, actually, we were just kind of bored. We're like, oh, what can we interesting change up with the game, because I noticed with the second Precipice of Darkness, it felt really similar to the first Precipice of Darkness. So for our personal sequel, we didn't want to fall into that trap of just repeating what we had done before. So we thought, oh yeah, and in the story, like at the end of Rain 6-3, we see our characters are split up into different areas. So we thought it would be a good idea to give them some monsters to fight with to flesh out the party, so you weren't stuck fighting with 1- and 2-person parties for most of the game.
So, with this being said, we have a little sneak of something that's going to replace energy.
So in your mind, remember that Monster Collection is real. So if you collect monsters, you have to have someone to oppose you in your monster collection. That's just how it works, I'm sorry.
A team, if you will. This particular grouping is known as Fish Force. And we are going to have, oh, you're going to go peek here. Something that's never appeared in one of Z-Boyd's games before.
We are villains to our very heroes are out the door. Saving people isn't what we do. We hold our monsters to the sky.
All right. So yeah, there is going to be a full lyrical song. You guys, you're getting the only sneak peek of it's not gonna. We're not gonna release the MP3 until after the games.
And this song will be playing while you fight them, because we have that word dragon have all the fun there.
This is funny because I've come full circle because I worked on the original Gold and Silver, and part of me thinks they did this just to torment me. So we would love to take your questions about the lore, the mythos, what you liked about 3, what you didn't like about 3.
Now's the time.
Mic is open. Feel free to come up to the mic that's right in front of us. Come, start the, yeah, so what's the flood? Once you open the gates, the flood of questions will start.
It's okay.
First of all, it's more of an ultimatum. We need more hat spiders.
More hat spiders. You're saying turn the hat spider, because that's just a slider in the engine. So you're saying right now the hat spider is a 0. And you're saying that we should take that spider and just switch it over to 1 hat spider.
Or more.
Okay. Look at the situation where 1 turns hat spiders on and then there's nothing but hat spiders. I'm not a programmer.
I'm aware.
Okay.
You know you look like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I have it going on.
Thank you. Do you have a follow-up?
No, hat spiders.
Okay.
All right, so we will be replacing all enemies with hat spiders. The game will come out tonight.
First week DLC.
Jerry, could you talk a little bit, either clarify what was the inspiration for Jim's origin story, or the Geometricus, the angry triangle? Because that really, it's really disturbing.
Yeah.
And I don't know what it means.
It is, yeah, I mean, I wanted it. I tried very hard to disturb you. And so I'm overjoyed that you will share some measure of my own existential torment. With that part of the story, you talk about, and so I'm glad that you followed the link, because it's just this tiny little link where Jim's origin as a skull in a jar of green glop is explained, but it's really just like a 2 or 3 sentence thing. So it's just this really bad thing that happens with a triangle. And I specifically don't want to go into any detail. Just the idea that, in my mind, I could see it, but I didn't want to, it's very like in that Lovecraftian sense, like if I went into any more detail, like you wouldn't be able to fill it in. So I want to make sure you understand, like, you're scared of it because there's something in your own weird head. So, obviously it's scary in my head too, but it's scary in different ways. And if I explain it, it will both be like triangles. How scary is that? It's not. It's just the 3 angles. And you're done. Drop the mic.
Thank you.
At 2, Brian was very, very clever.
You enjoyed it? Okay, good. It's fine.
You guys are the creators of Tycho and Gabe, right?
I have nothing to do. I just do what he tells me and Mike tells me, and that's the limits.
So you're the creator, right?
Yeah.
All right. Actually, I got a question for
Half hour.
I know that the first 2 episodes were 3-dimensional. How come the other 2 are going to be a spoof off from the Final Fantasy series?
There weren't supposed to be any more
At all.
At all. The developer that made the first 2, completely different developer. I'm going to try to summarize. I know half of you have heard this already. Left to do their own game. They wanted to go do their own IP. So we had stopped making them. Jerry wrote the story to get the story out, and these guys were forum members. And through a series of, hey, you should make a game of this, and Robert Koo said, hey, that sounds like a good idea, and they started talking, and it happened.
Okay.
And now we have 2 new games, and we got to finish the story, which I think is great.
Which I never thought we'd be able to do. So.
And we apologize, we didn't bring the Robert Koo hand puppet that could
I could have done the same. I do it at home.
All right. Just what happened to that character you created in episode?
Okay, so if you get game 3 and you get the beginning of the end, you find out exactly what happens to the player character from 1 to 2.
It's there.
Oh, so
I covered it.
He or she is a playable character.
They.
They. See, thank you. See, there's like 5 people who raise their hand who know what we're talking about. So go to that DLC. It's free.
It's like
I don't know if I mentioned it.
The game's like $5 for real. I'm not kidding.
So the final episode of Tycho and Gabe, is this the end of Tycho and Gabe outside of the game? Or-
Yeah, I mean, this definitely ends this story, but you know, we're all enthusiasts of sci-fi and fantasy. Like people, you know, even universes don't stay dead for very long.
Okay. So is there any chance that Tycho and Gabe have their own TV show?
The brain slick detective files.
No, that guy's, that comic guys.
You know, I'll talk to Tycho and Gabe.
Get on to Twitter. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
First off, I just want to say that the Blue Dragon boss battle is awesome. Like, Ian Gillen, just rips his vocal cords or whatever. My question was if you knew about monogame, because it's very similar to XNA. It makes porting much easier than going to an outside contractor and porting it to
Tell us more.
Yeah, you probably already heard. I was just curious.
No, I'm not joking.
I've heard Mono Game mentioned, and
I'm not teasing you, man.
Yeah.
I'm the kind of person who, if somebody tells me to do something, I feel like I should not do that.
Okay. So what you should do is not use it. Don't use it at all.
Oh,
It's bad.
Just don't touch it.
but yeah, we obviously know about Mono Game, we know about Unity, and we're looking into our options.
Okay, cool. I was just curious. Thanks.
Have you developed that game on Monogame?
No, I've developed an XNA. I've tried a bit of monogame. It's pretty much exactly the same syntax. It's just an OpenGL version of OpenPython. You can port to Android and iOS. It's much easier.
There you go.
Yeah, thanks.
That sounds way better, yeah.
My question is, you said you had the monsters, Monstorms and everything to help you out.
Yes, that's right. Monstorms. That's the real term.
I was wondering, one of the only things that I probably didn't like about the third one was how focused some of the equipment was for certain types of classes, for certain characters. Like there's a lot of high strength stuff for Gabe. Is that more balanced out in this one, or?
Glad you asked this question, sir.
There's more equipment in the game than there was in the previous one.
Tons.
Basically, each monster comes in one of 4 types: there's strength, magic, speed, and defense. And each type has 3 different types of weapons they can use it. So there's going to be way more equipment that you can choose which kinds you want. And
All right, sounds great. Thanks.
Also, depending on which monster you pair with which trainer, it alters their strengths and weaknesses.
yeah, the trainers are kind of like a 3rd equipment slot as well.
I'm Mark, really short for this microphone. So I have we'll call it a fearsome burning passion for the Quartet of Dusk of Man.
Oh, thank you.
Like, I really bothered a coworker of mine with it.
I'm glad.
We stopped working completely while I found it on my phone. Deep in the warrens of where I worked, we could get signal. But
I'm so glad.
I have a strange, it's very specific, it's maybe spoilery, but there is a line.
The term is spoilerian.
Spoilerian. Okay. Would that be a person who belongs to a spoiler? But okay.
Come on, man. Keep up.
Sorry. It's been a long day. But there is a specific line that says, with raisin rod we will rise and pierce the very house of God.
Yeah.
Is the raisin rod going to be metaphorical, or is this something like an item that you will have? Or is
It's
that
a
beyond?
metaphor that refers to an actual rod.
Okay.
That's a little glimpse into how we formed the story for 4.
My question was, how do you guys translate Jerry's mind into pixels? And yeah, it didn't go very well. But
We have a special machine for this.
some lever. Yeah. Thank you.
No, keep the reality, the tough part is actually is in my mind like trying to make the text aspect of the game as interesting as the spreadsheets this man makes to describe the technical aspects of these monster combat systems. Because I mean, there's a couple fields that I get to edit in the glorious document that contains the game.
Text file.
Yeah. Well, it's sort of like it's like a spreadsheet. I mean, we actually use Google Docs to develop most of the game, right? So over on the left is the name of the item. Over on the far right is a field that is literally entitled Amusing Description. I think that I actually edited Amusing Description to be Amusing Description. just to make myself feel better, because that's very intimidating.
It's a good D&D flavor text box.
That's right. And then between those two, sandwiched between those two human languages, is a truly horrifying nightmare realm of numbers and fractions and other stuff. And it's like, I can look at it and know that it is scary good. And the fact that he can sort of contain this and keep this going, especially with all the creatures that we want you to have, and all the equipment sets, because he's not joking about that, all the equipment sets for all those creatures. And then again, so all of your PCs get equipped to monsters like trainers, and they help them level up, and they determine certain things about their statistics. It's my job to make sure that the story is as interesting as the systems he's making. So.
Thank you.
Hey guys, I'm in the middle of playing right now, and I'm really enjoying it. I really love the class system. And so my question, thank you, very entertaining.
In fact, yeah, it's all based on pins, I guess.
Exactly.
Oh my god! We can make class pins for the next video arcade. Okay, sorry. All week I've been trying to think what to make for rain slick pins in the future.
So you just stole my question, because that leads beautifully into the question I was going to ask. I've been really curious about this. I'm really loving the penny arcade thing. I mean, who doesn't love a good side quest? It's an PAX side quest. I'm loving it, which I almost miserably failed at earlier because I couldn't find my pen to trade.
No, 100% success.
You know, I pulled through at the last minute. So. Anyway, so yeah, my question was, do you have a plan to make? I want to see the hobo pin. I want to see the slacker pin.
Oh,
I would buy that.
Sure, you want to see what it actually looks like.
Yeah, and I want to own it.
Yeah,
and I want to wear it so I can have its powers.
That's really cool.
We know somebody.
Yeah, we know a guy.
Think about it.
Yes, I know. Yeah, the Precipice pins, the lookout pins. All right.
So, I love Pokemon, but there's a certain thrill when Gabe punches something. So, is the Monstor combat mechanic going to be prevalent throughout the entire game? Or will Gabe get to punch things?
Actually, if you play the demo, you do get to see Gabe punching the crap out of Dr. Blood. So I figure there's going to be some opportunities to see him in the game punching stuff. And I haven't been able to draw everything yet. The game's mostly done, but I look forward to drawing Gabe punching stuff for that.
Yeah.
But the combat itself is going to be monster-based.
But I'll make sure that you get what you're after. Don't worry.
Okay, I have one more question too, actually relating to the class system. Is there something like the class system in 4? You're talking about player characters and all that. But can you go into detail on that?
Yeah, you can. Believe me, you can go into detail.
Do you want to talk about how the creatures take on?
Yeah, I mean, for number 4, we didn't want to just repeat the class system, even though it was awesome, I think. Obviously, I'm a little biased, but...
That was fun, right? He's not going to answer your question anymore.
Actually, the broken stuff is intentional because it's really fun to to look at systems and figure out how you can break them. So, I mean, we left in some stuff that's really overpowered because it's fun to be overpowered.
Energizer stuff, is that what you're talking about? Like,
Oh, I always did Tube Samurai and get full speed, and then just speed attack everything.
I mean, basically, our job is to make you feel intelligent. But with Ranks like 4, I mean, you have a bunch of different monsters that you get throughout the game, and you can switch them in and out in the game experience when they're not in the active party. And you can also attach these human trainers to the characters, to the monsters, and those kind of act like the classes from the previous game, as well as espers from Final Fantasy VI, where they give you stat bonuses when you level up. So, I mean, you get their ability while they're equipped, and you also get a stat bonus for as long as you equip them.
yeah, there is lots to, and each one of those beasts has tons of equipment, so there is a lot to fiddle with. You sound like a fiddler to me.
Are you a min-maxer?
Yes. This is designed, I mean, I think one of the reasons you want to go to the monster zone, if you will, is to give people more opportunities to play, right?
I mean, with number 3, we noticed that a lot of the min-maxer types would figure out a strategy pretty early, and then they would stick with it for the whole game. So here we're constantly throwing new stuff at you, and in fact we have 2 main parties in the game where you have to go back and forth at different parts of the world. So even if you get really attached to one monster, you're not going to have it with the other group. And so yeah, we try to keep you on the ball with this one.
On the monster ball.
So I have a new question based on that comment, so hopefully you will indulge me with 2.
Here we go.
And I forgot the names. I know you're both Z-Wood together. Z-Wood personnel, right.
Yeah, Robert, he's Bill.
So you alluded to observing, or how much of what I was doing while playing Penny Arcade, the Race Quest was Darkness, do you know?
We have cameras attached to the code, and yeah.
Even after you close the game, we can see.
Okay, and then the second question that is perhaps more realistic, I don't know. There's 8 and 16-bit RPGs have always been, sort of the sweet spot for me, and when I grew up, and you guys did some awesome work going before you guys working with this. Eldritch comedy, or whatever you want to call it, your writing style
I like it.
is amazing, and I think it fits really well together, and I would love to see more, and I'm going to be sad after this because there's not another one, even if it's not in this universe. So please make more, and towards that end...
I love working with them, so...
Good. I would love to know, out of the other sort of universe stubs in the Penny Arcade world, multiverse, are there any things that would be interesting that grab your attention?
I mean, obviously, there's lots of very creative outlets that Mike and Jerry have done that we are interested in exploring digitally, other than JPEGs, because those are digital as well. So yeah, I can't say anything, announce anything, but Robert's brain is always working.
He's ready now. No, it would be really surprising if I didn't make another game with him, because I've really enjoyed the first. I've enjoyed these so much. So.
Cool, thank you.
My question is kind of similar to the last one, but instead of games in other universes, I know this game is closing the book on kind of this particular story in this universe, but I'm wondering, will we get, even if it's not in a game, other stories in the Precipice universe, or is this it?
So you played through 3?
Yes, I played through.
Okay, so you sort of know what's being hinted at then.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, are we done? No, you just want to know if you're right or not.
Well, no, you're right. If beyond episode 4, if there will be more. Like, not the games per se, but will we see more of this universe?
Yeah, you certainly could. I mean, so let me like a book.
Well, I don't know, whatever strikes your fancy. Like if you wake up fevered in the middle of the night with a short story for Precipice in your mind.
Yeah, listen, the reality is that I'm a fan too.
Yeah.
And my relationship to it really changed when I thought I wouldn't be able to make anymore. You know what I mean? Like, let's be very clear. What I put up on the website was fan fiction for my own game. I really thought that was it. But I was like, well, I have to do it. I have to make sure that someone sees it, or even if there's one person out there who enjoys it. There's more than one, apparently.
Jerry has mentioned casually elements of the Rainslick universe that we don't come close to touching upon in our games. So I know there's a lot more going on.
Yes, and I'm just, as a fan, I'm saying I would love to see that.
Noted.
I'd love to work on that.
Thank you.
Okay, we have a few t-shirts that we can give away. How do we want to do that?
How delicious.
Are you trying to turn my panel into chaos? You have to fight for them.
Okay, we'll start the bidding at $50.
Please don't throw it.
No, I think right after we have an interview. I think you should give them away at the booth to make them come play the demo.
Okay, we can do that.
Just go see her birthday. Just go see Robert. He will give you a free T-shirt.
Robert. Okay.
All right. We'll answer this next question while this thing is
fire away. Okay, I got two quick ones. So, they're kind of related to the other two people that came up. I really like the D&D campaign that you and the rest of the guys do.
Oh, the Acquisitions Incorporated stuff?
Yes, yes. I enjoy it thoroughly. With this kind of closing out Precipice for the time being, have you guys ever thought of maybe going into that, like having...
Man, that would be badass.
Acquisitions Inc.
Yeah,
is what you're saying.
Yeah, I mean, the reality, I don't know what would happen. Like, I think that our relationship with Wizards sort of keeps those in the D&D context. And so I don't know if we'd even be able to. Maybe it could be like dork magic.
Well, I mean, are they licensed Wizard of the Coast? Because technically you made up the character sheets, right?
Yeah, I'm sure lawyers would love that explanation.
Okay, well, the second thing is, what about a game based on the Automaton universe?
There are lots of ongoing discussions in the bowels of Penny Arcade.
Oh, and it has bowels.
Also, maybe have those pins, as the Automaton little robot. It's just saying. Okay.
Same page, brother.
Okay. Second question is, I really like the Precipice, like the whole entire story. I was kind of curious when you guys were doing your Kickstarter and doing your different, stretch goals and that sort of thing. I kind of wanted to see like something like a hardbound, like Precipice of Darkness, like script book or something like that.
That would be really cool. Now there was at the Child's Play auction dinner.
Yeah.
Someone took his story and printed it and made a hardbound copy. That was amazing. I put them up for auction for the Child's Play dinner.
If you get more of those, we'll come to the Child's Play auction and bid on it. I mean, that's something I would really pay $80 if it was done well.
My head is so far down on 4, like I can't even think about what's next, like specifically for Precipice, but hearing that you want that is so gratifying. Like that just makes me want to do it.
Even to a certain extent, like if you can't put the production costs into that, like even an ebook, that would just be like all that stuff together. It's all really, really interesting.
That would be really cool. Yeah, I agree. I would also like to own it.
Thank you very much. After the panel.
Okay.
Run up here fast. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus. Jerry.
Last one.
Damn it.
Last one.
Jonathan.
Hi. I was just wondering if you have ever or would ever consider putting a possessed dog food bowl into your...
He's making fun of Geist because I goddamn worked on it. God damn it. You think just because we come back to Pokemon, we'll come back to Geist?
When Jeff is mad, I like it.
That's okay.
So I had a question about the monster training. Now, do I just eat 7 kinds of heck out of a hat spider and then throw Norbat when I get it? Do I take it out to a lovely dinner and read about our frost and enter into a relationship? Do I find it as an item? How does that work?
I don't know, but I love the idea of like a dating sim mini game.
It's got total boyfriend, but with hat spiders.
So hold on a second. That sounds way better than the current system. Listen, I'm not saying that like because the current system is bad. I'm saying that is exquisite. You shouldn't have to woo these beasts. Because think about this, like, I mean, obviously it's a digital game, so there's no box. But think about on the backs, if there was, in the back, if there was a billboard that said, Beast Wooing. You would buy that game. You would buy that game.
I would buy it. I'd buy that game twice.
Beast Wooing? Yeah. Pre-order.
Start a Kickstarter! The game is coming out in spring, so maybe we're not going to be completely overhauling it right now.
But think about this, spring. All right, natural.
Next question.
Right now, we pretty much just throw the monsters at you. You don't have to roll a random number generator to see if you get it. I mean, they come naturally through the story.
It's part of the story. There are options.
We also have some hidden ones scattered throughout that you might miss.
Jorm Dork Magic DLC character for Precipice. Come on.
All right, Jorm Dork Magic. There we go. I'm saying yes to all things. What would you like?
This is completely unreasonable, so I aren't expecting a no. I really like 3 and 4. I didn't quite like 1 and 2. Is there any chance of them being remade by somebody? No? Never? Ever?
The legal quagmire. But that'd be pretty cool.
It would. I mean, it's just such a tonal shift between the two, just an art style alone. It bothered me.
Man, that'd be really cool.
No, legally, I think it'd be crazy. I don't think we could pull it off.
I'm rich, man, but...
It's a pleasure and a headache to work for you, sir.
I don't know. That's really cool, man. That's a cool idea.
Thank you for considering it.
Great.
It'll come out after the Final Fantasy VII remake.
The Z-Boy guys there. Thank you for not fucking with me. I'm a completionist, and if I wasn't able to, you didn't make it so I had to grind anything in video game 3D, and I was able to actually max out everything. You're not going to do the same to collecting everything and having to level up all the monsters. You're going to make that actually organically happen through the story again.
Listen to this. Now, how do the monsters that are not currently your party gain XP? Robert Boyd?
A wizard. But no, unlike some of the developers out there, we actually like the people who play our games. So we try to take out all of the annoying aspects of some of the other RPGs out there and replace them with happiness. So, yeah, I mean, you're not going to have to worry about grinding. You should be at a good spot just playing through the game. And if you want to get higher levels, go do the optional content. And we don't have any limited time obtainable monsters that I can think of. So, I mean, if you miss them the first time, go back.
To get the next monster.
You will, but only because you want to.
All right, so this is a question for all four of you. Obviously, Jerry does a lot of writing, a lot of portmanteaus. I'm wondering what? Yes, I'm wondering which ones are your favorite, because there's so many of them, and they're all so great. So, what's your favorite portmanteau, specifically from Rainsley?
God, I don't even know. Well, you understand, like, my relationship, so I described that text file, right? I mean, I can scroll down and for maybe 20 seconds and not get to the bottom of it. Like, it is a huge pile of text. And also, I don't think I can say like what my favorite is because that would make me a jerk. So I would be very curious to hear what portmanteaus You guys thought you were worthy.
Bill, you've been quiet.
Can you rephrase the question briefly so that we can...
He means like a word combination, like a jokey, punny word combination.
Oh, of all the enemies and things like that?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I have to bring up the list.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of good ones in Rain's like...
Okay, actually, I'm wrong. I did something great. So there is a infernal mosquito.
This is 4, right?
I was going to use that one.
I've got one for 4.
There is an infernal mosquito in 4 that I call a mesquito. Congratulatory type sound. I think that there's a lot of fans out there of the mesquito, so, if you will.
In the demo, there are some, you're going to have to correct me, Jerry. There are some avians who are mad. You know, what are they named in our game? Telling me. Do you remember the name? The birds who are...
I think it's like raging avian or something.
Yeah, raging avians, and the descriptor is these things are literally everywhere.
But no, the best part about those is their special ability is to kamikaze you. So they fling themselves and they die when they attack. So
But you take a pile of damage.
not even that much damage. It's not that effective.
I can tell when Jerry gets really excited that he's named something because he runs into my office and tells me to open the spreadsheet.
And then I'll point again. Behold!
But yeah, for mine personally, I think it's probably one of the monsters you get on your team. Jim starts out with the Philosophly, which is one big reference to the Persona series. So it's a butterfly, it's got the Philemon mask on, and all of its abilities are memes from Persona. So
Yeah, I think there's a funny one that Moira gets, a monster. And I say this because it was really hard coming up with the look for it. Yeah, it's called the Brodent. It's a rodent. That's a bro. I literally Google image search, dude bro, like bro. I don't know what to do. So he's got like a pink shirt and a backwards cap.
Hey, Carl.
What's that?
My personal friend.
Yes. So I have a question for everyone but Jerry.
Good. I love it.
So I'm sure that it's difficult keeping up with his creative mind. Has there been any idea that Jerry just excitedly ran into the room like, oh, we're going to do this, and as soon as he walks away, everyone's like, oh, we're going to make this work out. Like, what has been the most challenge translating from his head to actual implementation?
I can speak from the art asset angle because I build the stuff. Like, he'll program the basics to get it to work, and Jerry comes up with a lot of ideas, and it comes to me to like build the things that you see and use in a game. So that we did the meeting in Seattle where we were brainstorming, and the Monstorm idea came out, and I'm like, yeah, that's really cool. Let's have 100 monsters they can collect, and they'll all have unique animations and sprites, and you'll be able to like deck them out with different outfits and stuff, or whatever.
I saw Bill's face just go pale.
Is that not happening? Is that? Did we not get that? Or?
yeah, I don't remember if it was Jerry or Jeff, but one of them came to me one day and said, "It's like, how hard would it be to just have the game turn into a side-scrolling shoot 'em up for one of the dungeons?" I was like, very hard.
I was trying to add a variety of gameplay elements. I'm the producer.
And as a really quick aside, your pin is the only pin I need to keep me from a complete collection.
No, listen,
I'm fine.
You figured me out, man. As soon as it's done, you want to.
No, I'm fine again.
All right.
Okay, really quickly, first I have a comment that regarding any of these legal issues, nobody in the gaming industry is going to be stupid enough to piss us off by suing you.
Thank you. There is some comfort in that.
And secondly, regarding the no grinding aspect, in theory there wasn't even the possibility of grinding until very close to the end. How do you combine that with the ability to change how things level up while making those level up bonuses significant, but not letting players screw themselves?
Very carefully. With Rank Slick 3 and Rank Slick 4, one of the things we added at the last minute due to media requests was the ability to change your difficulty at any time. So if you find the game you've just made some really boneheaded decisions playing the game and you can't progress, open up the change difficulty menu, select easy.
What if you started on easy?
Well, then there's just no hope for you and you shouldn't be playing hard games. I mean, we made easy really easy, so there's no shame, you're among friends here, so I mean, if insanity mode is too difficult, then just slide it down until you can catch it.
Everyone defaults to insanity mode.
I do.
Thank you.
Hello. Wow, voice sounds like that. You're making 4 games. Was there a purposeful plan to say screw the trilogy archetype and just go 4, or are you just making crap up as you go along?
Little column A, little column B.
No, it was always 4 games.
Oh, it was?
Each game is based on a verse of a poem.
Oh yeah, it's been a while since I played the...
No, it's the quartet of the dusk of man.
Yeah. Also, you said that there would be some unique monsters we were catching. Is there going to be like one in each of the groups that
syphilis
looks... No, that's the one you can't get rid of.
I guess that's a different game.
That one you can get from the dating sim.
Are there going to be one in each of the 4 groups that look similar? Much like legendary types in a certain other type of game?
You want legendary?
No, I'm equating them to the like legendary trios in the Pokemon games.
Games.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, depending on where you buy the game, whether you buy from Steam or Xbox,
We have a system called a pre-order, and it will allow you to unpurchase, but not game.
Yeah, we've reached that point in the battle.
And as just a quick aside for Jerry, Jeff had told me you might have merch pins.
Oh my God. All right. I said maybe on the show floor. I said maybe if you track him down, someone might have traded him one.
All right. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Maggie. Sir?
You guys said you are literally exploring every Penny Arcade thing for possibly being digital. I don't expect you to comment on it, but you could grab the brass ring of making the first licensed reality show video game. The first not terrible reality show game.
Strip search at the video game?
I want specifically Z-Boyd's strip search the video game.
You have a stable of artists.
A video game about artists? How do you feel about that, Bill? You have to create the art for the game, and then you have to create the art the artists are creating the game about art.
I think this is like a real-time demonstration of what I go through.
No problem.
I mean, it's totally easy because a lot of the art would be intentionally bad.
Think about this. So
the timed ones, not the ones that they actually spend. You know.
It would be like strip search plus Spartacus. So you'd have like a school, like a pit of artists. I battle with each other.
Out of my job as a producer, 10% is spent trying to get the game to go. 90% is talking them out of ideas of things they want to do and explore and gameplay and options, and Please narrow the focus for my sanity's sake.
I'm surprised it's as low as 90%.
Killjoy is what his official job title is.
So I love the setting, and I look forward to the series of novels and the tabletop RPG and the Quartet of Just Advance set to music on the KTV's, CD.
Ballet.
But when you were first making a game, you have, you're going to make a game featuring penny arcade characters, set up with Telltale, whatever. What made you decide, yes, Cthulhu by way of Fruit Fucker and Satanic Minds, and Tycho is a nihilist who wants to destroy the world? What made you say that's the way I want to go?
He doesn't just want to destroy it. Let's be very clear.
I didn't say he wasn't successful, I just...
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's what I wanted to do. Cool. For real, this may come as a surprise to you, but that was the first thing I thought of.
Oddly enough, not at all.
I always just think that people can hear this sound that I hear, but it's not true. And it's just well, yeah, obviously. What else could you possibly do? What other kind of video game could you make? That's the only thing.
All right, thanks.
Thank you.
All right, I have a question that has nothing that Jerry doesn't have to answer, but it's for you three. Of all the great ideas that Jerry has, which one that you guys did not want to do to begin with, that was I have no idea what I want to do, that you eventually realized we're gonna do this? That he beat you into fine.
It was in 3, remember?
Yeah, in 3, it was the ending. We had a completely different idea for the ending, and Jerry's like, nope, this is what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and our ending was really cool.
No, do you remember? So, probably the weirdest one. It's the only time that it's ever really happened. Because generally speaking, it's like with Mike, I don't tell him how to draw. And so there's a lot of stuff here, I want to work with people that I trust to do the good job, right? I want to have partners first. But Brainslick 3 had a nodal movement system.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yeah, Brainslick 3, it looked like the Super Mario World map. There are nodes, not just on the overworld, but in the dungeons. So
yeah,
and I sat down with Jerry and went.
And I feel
understand why they did it.
Yeah,
because they wanted to streamline. We want to make it streamlined and you progress, but it took something away. It took an element of exploration away that I think RPG players want, even if the exploration leads you to the same spot.
Yeah. But also, but you had already done the maps, and that made me feel really bad.
Yes. And that actually worked out really well because.
Well, let me preface this by saying I had already constructed all of the maps in this style. So they're all a lot smaller. They're set up for the nodes and paths. And the theory was we were going to, play test it, see how people reacted, maybe change stuff. If it was negative or whatever they liked it, ramp it up. But I had finished every dungeon like that. So for me, it actually turned out okay. I didn't mind at all turning it into the new map system. I was all for it once we made that change, and I could kind of take the ones I had, make them bigger, and use the same stuff. But
yeah, it was actually really good because we were almost done with the game when we made this huge change to it, and so we had hardly no time at all. And because of this, we figured out a much more efficient way to make maps. And you're going to see that with Brainslick 4. The previous game had 40 maps total, even if you include all the free updates we did. And right now we're at 70 something, and we're still not quite done with the game. So yeah, it's going to be at least twice as big as far as map size, and number of maps and variety.